water and jagged rocks that lay ahead, ready to flay me to pieces. The sound of hoofbeats came from beyond the line of birch trees, and a flock of starlings suddenly flew above the leaves, frightened by Mina's approach. I was standing at the start of the forest, my cottage barely visible from around the bend. If anyone else were to approach, they would come along the road, not from behind through the birch and berry shrubs, where there was no trail. That's how I knew it was her. I found myself running now to meet her, leaving my wheat field behind and disappearing into the trees. I was almost to the pond, our meeting place, when I saw her horse between the tree trunks, the eyes on the white bark watching me, perhaps even judging me. Mina was cloaked, her grey hood covering her head, and I watched in awe as she lifted it off, her face becoming visible. She saw me approach and smiled, so joyful that it nearly brought me to my knees. She would always be the most beautiful woman I had ever seen. Mina's hair flowed around her like a cape, red and chestnut, shades of burnt bark and raspberries, strands of blonde catching the light as the wind pushed it off her face. Her hair was the color of the fiery light from a dying sunset, one last burst of crimson before it faded into night. Her skin the color of fresh cow's milk, eyes the color of unfurled leaves. Her smile was sunshine. She was my everything. I felt a sudden warmth in my chest, a feeling so strong it was an almost physical pain. I could see all of her beauty then, in the way the light shone on her face, and I knew then that I loved her beyond measure. "Hello, Valtu," she said in broken German. "Hello, my dear Mina," I said, my German only marginally better than hers. Language had been difficult for us. With Sweden's rule over Finland, Finnish was largely forbidden, and I had learned to talk, read, and write in Swedish, as well as a bit of German for trading purposes. But in my early days I didn't understand Russian, and Mina only understood some German. It didn't matter, though, because when I was with her, words didn't mean as much. We communicated in other ways. She dismounted, but I was already at her side to catch her, taking her in my arms and lowering her to the ground. There was a shy moment when we were too close, when it felt formal and we didn't really know each other. But I erased it by leaning over, grabbing her by her shoulders, and kissing her hard. She let out a cry of surprise. Sometimes I was rather rough with her, my passion unbridled. But that disappeared into one of lust. At any rate, we didn't have much time with each other. Over the last 2 months we had met every morning for mere moments, all of it in secret, and did all we could with the time we were given. Feeling this urgency, my fingers pressed into her skin as my kiss deepened, like she might dissolve if I didn't hold on to her, like she was a mere leaf in the wind. She responded eagerly, her arms winding around my neck as she pulled me closer. We kissed like that for what felt like hours, exploring each other, tasting each other, wanting more and more. I had never craved anyone or anything like this in all my life, and the more I kissed her, the hungrier for her I got. Finally, we pulled apart, both of us panting for breath. "I missed you," she said, her voice a throaty whisper. "And I have missed you," I replied, brushing her strands of strawberry hair off her face. We didn't need to say any more. We both knew what we wanted, what we needed, what we dreamed about in the hours and days we were apart. I took her hand and led her through the trees to the pond, my heart racing in anticipation. The sun was filtering through the birch, casting a beautiful flickering light over everything. We reached the edge of the water and I turned to her.